The sun dipped low over Alexandria, bathing the city in hues of amber and rose. From the great harbor, the towering Pharos lighthouse cast its eternal gaze over the restless waves of the Mediterranean, guiding ships laden with treasures and knowledge from distant lands. But for Amara Tefnut, the heart of Alexandria wasn't the bustling docks or the golden palaces of Ptolemy VIII. It was the Great Library. The library's marble steps gleamed under the fading light as Amara ascended, her sandals tapping softly against the stone. Inside, the vast hall stretched endlessly, lined with towering shelves crammed with scrolls and codices. The scent of aged papyrus mingled with the faint tang of ink and wax from the scholars' desks. To Amara, it was the scent of eternity. Amara adjusted her shawl, brushing stray curls from her face as she stepped into her favorite alcove. It was a quiet corner, often overlooked by other scribes, where the works of lesser-known historians gathered dust. Here, she could think without interruption, unearthing fragments of the past. Today, however, the solitude felt different, weighted, as though the very air carried a secret waiting to be discovered. As her fingers skimmed over the scrolls, one in particular caught her eye. It was old, even by the library's standards, its leather casing cracked and brittle. A faint glyph resembling the Eye of Horus was etched on the cover, a mark she hadn't noticed before. Intrigued, she slid the scroll free and carried it to her desk, where a single oil lamp cast flickering shadows across the parchment. When Amara unfurled the scroll, her breath caught. Unlike the orderly records she was accustomed to, this was chaotic. A series of fragmented sentences, symbols, and diagrams that seemed to spill across the page like a desperate plea. One symbol repeated itself, a spiral, enclosed within a triangle. Beneath it, written in a hand she knew all too well, was the signature of her late mentor, Master Hesi-Ra. Her chest tightened. Hesi-Ra had been more than a mentor. He had been a father figure, a guide through the labyrinth of history. His death 2 years ago had been sudden, shrouded in whispers of treachery. That his work had resurfaced now felt both thrilling and ominous. Amara traced the spiraling symbol with her fingertip. Alongside it were fragments of text, in Demotic and Greek, which she painstakingly began to translate. Beyond the sands, the hidden chamber, power to shape the river of time. Beware those who seek it. Knowledge is power, but in the wrong hands, catastrophe. The words sent a shiver down her spine. The river of time? It sounded like myth, yet the urgency in Hesi-Ra's writing was undeniable. Further down the scroll was a crude map, showing the Nile snaking past Memphis and Giza. A mark had been made near the Great Pyramid of Khufu. Her lamp flickered, and for a moment Amara thought she heard a faint shuffle behind her. She turned sharply, but the alcove was empty. Only the distant murmur of scholars echoed through the library's halls. She exhaled, shaking off the unease. Returning her focus to the scroll, she realized there was more. A warning etched in a hurried scroll. Beware those who seek it. Knowledge is power, but in the wrong hands, catastrophe. Amara's mind raced. What had Hesi-Ra uncovered? Why had he hidden this scroll? And why had it resurfaced now? The questions gnawed at her, pulling her deeper into the enigma. Before she could dwell further, a shadow fell across her desk. Startled, she looked up to see a tall figure cloaked in the formal garb of a Roman envoy. His dark eyes studied her with unsettling intensity, a polite smile curving his lips. "Apologies for the intrusion," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "I couldn't help but notice your engrossment. A rare scroll, is it not?" Amara stiffened, instinctively curling the parchment under her arm. "The library holds many rare scrolls," she replied coolly. "Indeed," he said, his smile widening, "but not all of them whisper secrets of such importance." Her heart raced as she met his gaze. There was something calculating behind his charm, a predator sizing up its prey. "If you'll excuse me," she said, rising, "I must return this to the archives." "Of course," the envoy said, stepping aside with a slight bow. "Until we meet again, Lady Tefnut." She didn't respond, hurrying past him with the scroll clutched tightly to her chest. Behind her, she could feel his eyes lingering, as though he had seen far more than she intended. In the safety of her quarters, Amara locked the scroll away, her mind ablaze with questions. Who was this Roman envoy? How did he know her name? And most importantly, what had Hesiar discovered that could draw such dangerous attention? As the city of Alexandria drifted into slumber, Amara sat by her window, staring out at the dark horizon. Somewhere beyond the sands lay the answers she sought, but with them came a warning, heavy as the desert's silence. Knowledge is power, and some secrets are better left buried.